Jamila. So I wanted to come on here and talk about this real quick. Okay, just to open you guys' eyes up to something. Now, I'm going to say this first of all. I have never been married. Um, I could have been married 20 years ago, but I decided not to do it. Glad I didn't. Um, because, in my opinion, um, in a lot of cases, the way things are going with so many men being possessed by incubuses and succubuses, the next level possession and ignorance when it comes to, real spirituality. Um, I think that what we've been experiencing with the baby daddy, baby mama type of dynamic um, is something that probably has been going on from the beginning of time. And and I think that especially with people being so sexually controlling and seeking sexual control over people because they're perverts, I think that it's caused a lot of things to get misconstrued in a world where everybody can benefit. However, we've got people out there, and I've been doing consistent research on this to the people out there that um, have sort of developed this war against women and children. And it's usually women and children that end up hanging in the balance. Now, I have been dealing with a situation with a person who, for some reason, there are certain people who have so much hatred within themselves that they are entertained by this person, who, by the way, I would have never married, has never been my husband. Um, so I've never been married. I'm not even divorced. But I did a search term on Google as well as YouTube, and I found many, 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 many disturbing stories from mostly women. I would say probably 99% women, um, a couple of males peppered in there. I'm sorry, the past 20 or 30 years, maybe even 100 years, when it comes to men, I have a really hard time seeing y'all as victims, seeing as though you guys have violently and viciously taken male privilege or created this male privileged society. So I'm sorry. I have a really hard time feeling sorry for men. Men are given certain privileges. That is a fact. And it's unfair. Hey, Stevan, happy Monday. And so that is where the divine feminine has to step in to bring fairness and balance and justice. But my question is that, is it religion, is it God actually that facilitates so many women becoming homeless after their divorce? I mean, I've never been married, so no man has control over where I live or my finances, okay? All right, even though all of them would love that. For some reason, men would love to be able to control, some men, not all men. Some men would love to be able to control a woman's finances because they feel like if they can control her finances, what she eats, then apparently that can give them power over her, which you're not going to be given that except for by a woman that is willing to give you that power over her. When a woman says no, no means no, and you can't force it. However, this is really, really concerning to me because so many women are saying that, and then it's becoming apparent that this must be a thing for some men. This must be something that must be in the back of their subconscious. Obviously, the woman is trying to get away from you. She doesn't want to be with you with obvious reasons and would never be with you, would never choose that. Is it a collective consciousness of diabolical males' hearts, and the perversion of of masculine energy that we're dealing with? Is that God, like an actual God, or is that just a collective consciousness of men? And I'm going to answer that for you. I can tell you that broken, diabolical, controlling, sick, depraved, and disturbed men are actually coming together within this consciousness to where they want to put a woman out. And I, if you guys watch me all the time, then you already know that I had a meeting with Moloch. It was very random. That's how I knew it was real. So it's almost like they're saying, hey, if I can't control you, then I'm going to just throw you into the fires of Moloch, you and your children, right? It's very bizarre. Um, and I do believe that Moloch would be one of the energies or the deities that they would be dependent upon to even try to make it look like they have the right to make you feel, or either to try to manifest homelessness and poverty and sickness within you if you don't stay in a place where they want you to be. And so this is what I want to say about that. First of all, if you are dealing with a man like that, and if you are a woman that is very accomplished, you are a woman that has always had a career of some sort, right? Any woman, all women, but if you are a woman that's not going to stand for that, no man can take that from you, because man is not God, right? Even though we can be in love with a man, like right now, my significant other, even though he doesn't take care of me financially, he doesn't, and he doesn't have to. What a lot of men don't realize, a lot of these males don't realize that when they're doing that, and pulling in that energy onto the earth, they are creating a lot of the problems and putting a lot of burden on society. And this is something that none of them are ever going to get away with. But also, they actually and factually do not have the power to do that. They don't have the power to tell you that. We're not, women in this society have got to stand up and stand strong against men like that. And it's not about feminism, you know. They have been working, and they've been primarily doing it through social media, which really to me is artificial intelligence. It's artificial. Nobody in real life actually thinks that way or lives that way. Nobody does. It's not even real. However, when you've got those blurred lines, and when you are someone um, like myself, who is a very creative person, and my career is about my creativity, that is what makes me me. A lot of people label me as a witch, and I think that there's a little witch in everybody. I really do, in every woman especially. Okay, even men. But at the end of the day, I am a healer. So, and we all know the persecution The ignorant persecution that healers have went through worldwide, you know, and so what I am saying is that that is not real. It's the same thing as fake love. If anybody ever tells you, hey, you know, you're not going to make it without me. If anybody tells you that, if a man tells you that, honey, he's not for you. A real man is going to say to you, hey, I respect you, I support you, and nobody can stop you. That's what a real man tells you. That's real love. The other is fake love. Somebody that says to you, hey, if you don't let me control you, then I'm going to make sure that you have nothing and that you just disappear and die and suffer. That's not love. A sick, diabolical person looks at it that way, but it's not. It's not love. If you look at something like that as love, you have to learn what real love is. That's not love. And it is a collective consciousness. I do believe that it's got to be some of these secret societies, in particular when it comes to Black men in particular. So, what my spirit guides and my spirit team has been coming up with is the antidote for that. And you have to understand that they are being backed up by an egregore or a collective consciousness. And there are certain things that have to be done to destroy that collective consciousness, to make sure that it has no power, because something like that should not have power. I'm not going to say what that is. I'm not going to go into detail to tell you what that is. But there is things that have been done and things that can be done, and it will be done to destroy them. Especially when, as a woman, you have the right to say, I don't want this relationship with you. And if somebody says, hey, well, you know what? If you don't want a relationship with me, if I can't have sex with you, if I can't hang around your children and degrade them, if you won't let me do that, guess what? I am going to get with a group. Notice how they always got to be with a group. It's always got to be a group. And the reason why is because they are utilizing all of those energies of the people in that group. And that is where, because a lot of people are down on witchcraft. It's not about witchcraft. It's about alchemy. It's about alchemy. Okay. It is about your personal power. However, it's got to be, it's a lot of the times, when you're facing things like that, and in a lot of cases, because when we look at these triumphant stories on the internet, you're looking at some of the luckiest people. Keep in mind that a male like that has been given the privilege, even though, according to man's law, he's not supposed to be able to do that. But there have been a lot of men who will utilize domestic violence, and you see it every day in the news. A lot of men will murder a woman and her children. Those are the women and the children, the casualties of the war mindset of the man that you're not hearing from. You're hearing about them, but you're not hearing from those people because they are no longer here anymore. Honestly, when you see situations where a man is financially abusing a woman, you are looking at a situation to where he is not being allowed to murder that woman. You're looking at a situation where the woman and her children are very lucky in that situation because what that so-called entertainment for these sick people is covering up is all of the murders that are actually happening. Keep in mind, there are women and children being disposed of on a daily basis that sometimes they don't even find those women and children until 30 years later, where they will find skeletons and bones in the basements of some of these sick men and groups. And this is something that we are battling with right now. We are battling with death with these males that for some reason they want a false control, which is totally false. If they actually had the capability to find something real, they can't, because it's almost like they've been compromised. They have their own war and system and bad karma, and they're just spreading it and passing it to other people. You have got to have a system that is set up and put into place that is for the direct protection and benefit for these women and children. And I believe that that is the reason why witchcraft, I'm not talking about fake craft. I'm not talking about a witch that supports a man in that diabolical nature. I'm not talking about that, because what she is doing is she is giving her power and her input, in which it has been done many, many times. Even being attacked, there are some women that support these perverted, diabolical men, so much so to the point where there are women and children and young girls that are being attacked simply because they refused somebody's husband. They refuse to have sex with them. There are some women out here that will attack a woman with either witchcraft or energetically or psychic attacks because you refuse to have sex with her man. And she's so caught up and sick and low self-esteem and perverted that she's in the mindset to where you deserve to be punished because you won't have sex with her man. So this is where that polygamous nature comes in. And I do believe that's one of the reasons why Nature Boy got locked up. But I believe that a lot of those women in there deserve to be locked up too, because they were helping him trap women in that house, forcing that man, Bishop Eligos or whatever is Bishop not Eligos. I forget his name. They call him Nature Boy. Those women are so far removed from their divine feminine nature that they were helping him trap those women in there so that he could rape them, so that he could keep them hostage. That's why that man is in prison for 20 years. But a lot of people, because they're so sick, and then we've got people that are into unnatural sexual practices like what? BDSM. BDSM is a perfect marker for that. I would never suggest any woman or man getting involved in that, because that is a spirit. BDSM is a spirit that is the complete opposite of love and intimacy. And it is ruining the minds and the bodies and the spirits of so many people that are involved with it. Your experience with a man should be of a romantic and loving nature. It should not be these extreme sexual practices, which has been ushered in by a lot of, these elites and stuff. Like, for example, that movie 50 Shades of Grey. There was a little bit time that I was kind of taken by it, and I snapped out of it quickly because I was blessed enough to run into a couple of videos about it, and I can honestly say it opened up my eyes very quickly. And then also another movie called Eyes Wide Shut. And basically, what we're going to be talking about on the Witch's Broom channel is we are going to be talking about how they are basically utilizing, even members of the church, they are utilizing spiritual rape, witchcraft. They are utilizing practices of witchcraft, which is something that they are all, that is why they are suffering, because the divine feminine who governs over witchcraft recognizes that witchcraft itself is being utilized for this agenda. And it's creating a lot of death. It's creating a lot of misery and imbalances. This is not something that should have took off. It did, and it is something that is being corrected. So a lot of them every single day, if they're in that frequency, they're being corrected. They're being corrected, actually. And so one of God's creations, one of God's created goddesses that I work with would be Aphrodite. And if you look at certain photographs of her, people can take it and interpret it as they want. There's one photograph of Aphrodite. She's standing above a bunch of people, and it looks like these people are having an orgy. See, people, based upon their perversion, which is like this unnatural sexuality, they will look at that and they will take it as that. They will take it as that. But in reality, I think that a lot of the depictions of Aphrodite means something different, but that's how they have taken it. They have taken it to a very perverted place, to the point where you're not even able to experience any kind of intimacy. People wanting to watch other people have sex. You are possessed. You need to be cleansed. Anybody that wants to sit and watch another person have sex, this is the reason why I completely canceled out porn. And see, the porn industry wants money. That is a beastie machine that wants money, the porn industry. I have been battling the porn industry for the past several years and winning. Because images of me without my permission was put up on porn websites. I have requested so many times, and I'm going to have to get legal counsel for that, for my images to be removed from a couple of pornographic websites, and they have not respected me and abided by the DCMA takedowns that I have put in. The porn industry is ruining your sex life. Turn away from porn. And I know you're thinking, you're a witch, Jamila. How can you say that? You know what? I'm a witch, but I'm also a woman. I'm also a woman, and I'm not Christian. But I am telling you that no matter what spiritual or religious beliefs that you are, industry is trying to tap in and ruin your entire soul with that. That is rape. Uploading a revenge porn of a woman to a porn website is rape. Nobody should be looking at your image like that. People shouldn't have your image readily available to look at that. And so this is what they are battling with. They will always be slaughtered in that battle. You cannot force whoremongerism on every woman. It doesn't matter if she's a witch. It doesn't matter if she came from a home of divorce. It does not matter. Even some of these, and that's why I highly discourage that. Highly discourage that. As women, you are setting yourselves up for failure. It was a few years ago where there was a lot of women that were doing OnlyFans and stuff. I said, don't do it. You know what? It is your body, it is your choice, but protect yourself. If you are putting your sexual image out there, or if your sexual image is being put out there, there has to be protection put into place. Because when you have someone that has an image of you, they can do what they want to do with that image. A picture is worth 1,000 words, so you have to be careful with that. At this rate, what I noticed that a lot of men were trying to do, and a lot of perverted and confused women was trying to basically make life and society about putting women and children into some kind of sexual slavery. This is something that is going to fail. We are actually in the eye of that storm of perversion, and I can promise you that on a very vast level, it doesn't matter. They are outnumbered. There, if you go to any porn site, they're gonna have thousands of views, not none of my views. And if you have a husband or a man that is addicted to porn, please take him away from that porn addiction. Stop looking at other people have sex and tend to yourself. There are certain things that are happening to you in your body that are causing sickness and death and disease by looking at other people have sex. You're performing a sex magic ritual with those people that you're seeing in that image, and you're connecting to whatever is pulsing through their soul, especially if you're masturbating. Stop doing that. Now, what I picked up on with my own situation, that because it happened to me, what I picked up on is that there was a lot of people that were trying to steal healing energy from me and trying to connect with my healing energy, and they were cut off. Here we are now, a few years later, and it didn't work, and it backfired on those people. And then they'll say, oh, well, you're not real. You're not no real witch. You're not this, you're not that, because they've been cut off from my energy. Because you're not allowed to rape healers and empaths to get their energy. You're not allowed to do that. You're never going to be allowed access to somebody's energy and their sexual energy and their healing energy by looking at a porn of them, because spirit does work through electronics. And yes, spirits will cut you off from that energy. You are not allowed to try to pull on our energy via porn so that you can manifest. And they have found that out and they're pissed off about it. And I'm going to tell you something. Money is going to be the least to their problems. Because what spirit showed me years ago when it first started is that that energy is being transmuted to poison on those people. You are not allowed to rape a woman through her image. You're not allowed to do that. The energy that you're going to receive through any sex tape, any image, if a woman comes to me and says, hey, this maniac released revenge porn on me, I didn't agree with it, I didn't consent to it, and now I'm feeling some type of way, things are happening, guess what spirit is going to do? They are going to take that video or those photographs, and whoever is looking at it, whether or not it's a man or a woman, and they are going, the energy that they're pulling, because we're dealing with psychic vampirism here as well. The energy that they're going to be pulling is equivalent to belladonna, mandrake root, and poison ivy. It's poison. And then they get mad at you. No, we did that on purpose. You are not going to be able to do a sex magic ritual, masturbate, have a bunch of people masturbating trying to heal their afflictions through an image of a healer. You're not going to be able to do that, no matter how bad and depraved that you are. And you're not going to be able to distract and try to attack her children, trying to go through Moloch and all of that stuff. You're going all around the world when, if you had any good sense or intelligence, you would have just connected to source for healing. Okay? You would have just connected to source. So all of this perverted stuff that is happening, that we're witnessing and that we're seeing, they're going to fail. You're not going to heal yourself of whatever autoimmune disease that you have, asthma, brain cancer. You're not going to be able to heal that way. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know. So if you've got somebody doing that to you, it is specific work that has to be done. I know that there's a lot of people that are religious that really don't understand that, but it is specific work. It's specific herbs that you have to use, it's specific stones that you have to use. Okay, I'll be back on the Witch's Broom channel to talk about this later. Okay, I'll see y'all in a little bit. I gotta take this call.